So this week we are going to be looking at content-specific resources, and I think you're going to have a lot of fun with the different resources that I've provided for you to play around with. And then you're going to get a chance to check out some other resources that I have provided a variety of content-specific resources on my website. In addition to that, you're going to finish up your curation collection. So I have to tell you, I am so impressed. I've been peeking at your creation collections, and I've been spending so much time stealing all of your ideas and adding them either to my website or my Digo account. So thanks for sharing such great resources. And I think you're going to find next week when you look at everyone's collection that there are so many great resources. It's hard to keep up with them all, but it's great to have a class like this to be able to be exposed to so many great resources. I'm also really enjoying looking at all of your voice threads and looking at the discussions. I'm so impressed. I really am loving VoiceThread even more now, and seeing how the discussions are going and how much that I've learned from you and that your classmates have learned from you in your VoiceThread research presentations. So that's going to be it for this week. We're coming down to the wire. Next week is our last assignment week. So as always, please let me know if you have any questions, and have fun this week. I think you're really going to enjoy some of my favorite resources related to content area, and then you can pick a couple of your own. So this is my website, and I do have a section for content-specific resources. On this specific page, it has links to all the different resources, or you can click here and you can get to the resources in that way. So one of the things that you'll be doing today is to click on one of these and then look at some of these resources. Pick a couple that intrigue you and play around with them so that you can discuss them in the discussion forum. So let's look at some of my favorite that you will be playing with today. For math, this is my absolute favorite goldmine website that has many different interactive activities for students related to math based on the standards. So what you're to do is to click on this in UB Learns, there's the link for it, and find a couple of activities that you would like to play around with and go ahead and try them. This will not work on the iPad, it has to be on a computer. So for example, this one is algebra. So if I click on it, I get to this. This website requires Java, so you might have to download the latest version of it. If it doesn't work in one browser, you might try another. I can't get this to work in Google Chrome, so I've opened it in Safari. But basically for this one, what you have to do is, it's kind of like hands-on algebra, a manipulative program that I've used years ago with students. So here we take this equation and have to make it physical using this balance scale. So I say see 2x, so I have to put 2 x's in there on that side. And then the number 2, so I need 2 of these numbers. And on the other side, I have to put an x and 4 of these numbers. And this is going to then help me solve the problem as I add and subtract from each side. So I'm going to subtract a 1, I'm going to subtract an x, and then I'm left with x equals 2. So then I can go to a new problem to see how that works. So this website, National Library of Virtual Manipulatives, is a great math website. So try a couple, see what you think. If you get to one that you don't know how to do it, over on the side are directions, or go try another one. Some of them are more complex than others. Have fun. Here's one of my favorite ELA or language websites. It's a visual thesaurus, and it takes the word and actually makes it kind of interactive. So let's take a word like technology and look it up. And I'm just going to do a trial version here. And you can see that it has to do with these ideas, but if I want to go further, I can click on this engineering idea, and then I get more. And I can keep clicking and going further in. So that, and look over here, I can see whether words are nouns or adjectives, verbs. There's things I can do with foreign language here. There's all kinds of things I can do with these words. So try it out, look into it a little further and see what you think of it. This is my absolute favorite science website, and actually it's for math teachers too, but it has these interactive activities that are related to all different learning objectives for science and math, and students just love them. It's kind of expensive, but you can get a free trial period, and what some teachers do is they'll get the 30-day free trial period, and then they'll sign up with a different email or have another teacher sign up so that they can use it for more than 30 days. But it's about $700 a year, so it's kind of out of most of our price range. But here's, just give you an example, and we're going to actually play this, and you'll get a chance to play it after you watch this video. So we launch the gizmo. Now it will only let me play this for 5 minutes. You get a 5-minute free pass. So you can log in and go up to the top, and in UB Learns, it has your login so that you can actually log in and play for more than 5 minutes. So here I am all logged in. This is a great tool to teach students the scientific process. So I'm looking at all these different variables, things that I can manipulate. I can manipulate the number of ants, whether there's friction or no friction. I can manipulate this stick, how long it is. I can change what the item is. And I can make a prediction first. So I can use this with the class and say, how many ants do you predict it's going to take to push this almond up, and how long do you think it's going to take? So they can make their prediction. Maybe we can use today's meat for that. Maybe they predict 3, and then we're going to play it and see if they're right. And it looks like 3 ants aren't going to do it. An ant must be too heavy. So we stop and reset it, and then try another. So let's make it 6 ants and see. And now that works. And so we can see that it does work, but we can also look at the time. We can continually change this experiment and maybe change one of the variables and think about what does the effect of changing that variable have to do on the results, looking at time and looking at whether they can push the ant up. So this is just one example of the thousands of gizmos that are on here. So play around with this one and go ahead and play around with some other ones if you'd like while you're in there. I think you'll really enjoy this. Okay, so here is my favorite social studies application. And when you're talking about gaming, this is a great example of a perfect educational game. You have to actually know the information to play the game to get better at it. And it really helps you learn about civics. This particular game, there's several games on this website, this particular game helps you learn the amendments. And the more you know the amendments, the faster you can go and the more success you'll have on this. So I'm starting up this game here. And I'm going to create a new game. Pick which one you want today. I think I'll be her. And then you have to put your name in. And pick one of your lawyers there. I'm going to pick her. Go. So now I'm just going to follow the directions, read the directions, and go ahead. This is going to be my partner. I have my own law firm. And this game is a lot of fun. You have to warn you, it can be addicting. The first time you play it, you might be a little lost, but once you learn how to play it, you'll want to play it over and over and get better and better. It does give you directions and tells you what to do. So I'm going to continue. Here's me, here's my partner, and in a minute we're going to have a client, and we'll have to go to the client, walk over to the client, see what the problem is, and then really think about, does this person have a right or not? If they have a right, then you click on here. If they're just being silly and they don't really have a right to anything, then you click this. So I'm going to say they have a right, and either that my lawyer can take care of that, or I have to get another lawyer for this person for tomorrow. So depending on what amendment my lawyer is expert on, I'll just say that if I might need it, the person to come back to it now. So let's say this does match what the amendment that my lawyer is an expert on. I'll say, let me introduce you to someone, and then I bring them over to that. Now, if I'm wrong, this won't work out well for me. So introduce them, and then click on that skill, and say you have to read it, look at this and look at that and see if it matches. If it matches, you'll click match, and then that lawyer will talk to your client, and if you were right about matching it, you're going to get points. If you were wrong, you won't get points. In the meantime, more clients come in, so I'm going to click on that, and let's say this one I'm not really reading it. I'm going to say they don't have a right, and see, nice way to dodge a bullet, so that person really didn't have a right. So I'm just going to keep going, and once I finish day one, then I get these prestige points. I can buy things for my office, and I can look up here and see what this is if I want to look up no unreasonable searches. And as I buy other lawyers, I'll have more amendments. It's a lot of fun. Once you really get into it, it takes a little bit of a learning curve to learn how to do this, but go ahead and play around with it and see what you think. Once you've tried out those 4 resources that I'd like you to play around with, then go to this website, which there's a link on Newbie Learns, and check out a couple of the resources here and see what you think. Find a couple that are really helpful to you, and you're going to report on all of this in your discussion forum for this week.